Good evening, Mayor, Council. Just have a few things. I'll try to make it quick. I know we got a lot of stuff on the agenda. First of all, just some project updates. The East King and North Avenue sidewalk projects. CNC Construction had all the documents are signed and they should be starting any day. They've just been held up by the weather, but Mark Whitley told me the project should be started possibly as early as tomorrow. McBrayer Park Phase 3. They completed the two pavilions over the weekend, so they're up. The bathroom and concession stand, they're out today locating. They're going to move a little electrical and little power, or electrical and water, and that will start Monday, construction on that building. Mark Whitley advised me that the West Main Street project, he said he has completed all the temporary construction easements, and he's going to reach out to our attorney to review them before proceeding, and then that project should be well on its way. The old library is done. It's complete. Everything's up and running. I just need some direction from the council on a permanent plan for that facility, and if we're still looking at the name. I know we had one councilman throw one name out there, but I guess maybe on the next agenda we could put that on for discussion to talk about that. Residents in Greenleaf Drive have completed the required documents for speed humps, so that project will be going. In the near future, we have getting a price on the speed breakers and installation. The Pollen Festival is Saturday here in town. We'll be taking up all of Main Street, McDonough Street, Cherry Street. We'll block that off probably 7 or 7:30 that morning. So just be prepared for that. And also, Henry County is hosting the Super NIT baseball tournament for youth baseball, and they'll be using Coley Park. So there'll be extra traffic going there also. Pretty much every park in Henry County and the surrounding counties will be taken up by that tournament. So there'll be a lot of people in town Saturday, so just get the word out. The Power DMS program I talked about, it's finally up and running. We will do training on it next week. We've got everybody inputted into the system, and hopefully we will start sending stuff out and directions on how to use it and set up a little training date for the whole council and all the city staff on it. And that's really one other thing. Mark Whitley has advised us, and he has applied through LMIG for a grant to use some of those funds for the restriping all of our roads. If that happens, that project would have to be complete by September 2018. So I approved him to put in for that grant. If we receive it and he thinks we will, to just be able to use those funds, we'll be able to restripe all our roads within the city using those funds and not funds that we had budgeted for that. So that's about all I have. Any questions from the council? That was quick. All right.
Committee updates. David, how long y'all need? About 15 minutes? Any other committee members? Mr. Gill, we're going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to turn it over to co-chairman of One Henry, Mr. Leonard Marlin. And we've got a couple of presentations here. I'm going to kind of help her, because I know what, when the blank here. Uh-oh.
One Henry is projecting a solid, positive image for the region and the rest of the state that Henry County is a major player for economic development. One Henry is a collaborative initiative to help ensure the long-term economic prosperity for all of Henry County.
One Henry is citizens working together to build a brighter future with stellar schools, roads, and opportunity for everyone.
One Henry is a chance to make a lasting impact. One Henry is our local and county governments, public and private entities, individuals and businesses, all working together for a shared common goal.
One Henry is establishing a clear vision of where we want to take Henry County.
To me, One Henry is a group of dedicated volunteers diligently working to bring prosperity and a better quality of life to our entire community.
One Henry is about developing a strong workforce for a robust Henry County in the future.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for giving us the opportunity tonight to, if you can back up one, to talk a little bit about the One Henry Economic Alliance. The One Henry Economic Alliance was formed 3 years ago out of the collaboration that, speaking to the mic? Okay. The One Henry Economic Alliance was formed 3 years ago out of the Intergovernmental Retreat, which many of y'all have participated in, where the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Authority come together each year and host an off-site retreat where we can identify the challenges for Henry County and try to find solutions for those challenges. So 3 years ago, we were in Savannah discussing the port widening and the effects that it would have on Henry County. And of course, the first thing that comes to mind is traffic congestion on the interstate, but there are so many other things because of the extreme growth that Henry County is going to go through over the coming decades. So after that retreat, we came back and we formed the Alliance in order to try to tackle some of the problems. And tonight, I want to tell you a little bit about what we've accomplished so far and then give you a peek into the future as well. So One Henry, one of our first initiatives was to try to tackle the traffic issue coming up I-75. So we're in the process of forming Henry County's first Community Improvement District. If you're not familiar with a CID, Community Improvement District, you can look at the area up around the Cobb Galleria, or you can look over near Perimeter Mall. Those were the first two CIDs in Metro Atlanta, where property owners come together and they agree to tax themselves and to allow those funds to be used to leverage other projects that are state and federally funded. So Henry County's first community improvement district will be in the southern portion of the county, extending from about Highway 2081 down through Locust Grove. And the purpose of that is to leverage those tax dollars in order to do road widenings. One of the first things, and some of you have probably heard, we've been working very hard to add a new interchange to the interstate that will get the trucks off the interstate and get the trailers on the backs of trains to help alleviate some of our traffic problems. So the Community Improvement District is one of our major initiatives under One Henry. Okay. We also have a professional services and corporate solutions group that is working very hard to try and attract higher paying, higher skilled jobs to Henry County. This group has worked very hard to establish a relationship with the Technology Association of Georgia, which is a 35,000 member strong organization, the largest technology association in the United States. It's located in Atlanta. We have hosted several events that we brand Tech and Tea. Some of you may have attended those over the last couple of years, where TAG comes down and puts on programming. TAG has been so impressed with the opportunities in Henry County that they want to establish a long-term relationship with One Henry and with Henry County. So we're looking at quarterly opportunities for TAG to come in and put programming on and help establish a stronger technology community here in Henry County. Okay. We also have a group that works on arts and leisure activities. Arts and leisure, as we know, is very important to all of us after our jobs in the evening and on weekends. I heard about the softball or baseball tournament that's going on this weekend. There are so many things that we have to offer in Henry County, and part of that is to promote the businesses that are already here that help with the arts and leisure activities of our community. Also to look at other future opportunities such as an amphitheater to bring concerts and different things to Henry County. So this is just a group of some of the folks that have been volunteering in the arts and leisure area so far, and the different committees that have been formed to focus on our needs in the community, not just today, but in the generations to come as well. Okay. You can go to their website, funandhenry.com. It puts in place the first community-wide collaborative interactive calendar where you can place your events that are taking place, and also you can look at all the other events that are going on within the county. Plus, it's an opportunity for different businesses and different municipalities in the county to talk a little bit about what's going on in their communities. Okay. And then, of course, our onehenry.info has been our website for about 3 years, where you can get all of the background on what One Henry is up to and how we're trying to just improve our community. Okay. Of course, one of our primary focuses is workforce development. Henry grads for Henry County jobs. That's our goal. If you think back a few years ago, out of that same collaboration of the Development Authority and the Chamber came the East Squared Initiative. And that East Squared Initiative brought us the campus for Southern Crescent Technical College, and it also brought us the Henry County Academy for Advanced Studies in the Henry County school system. Two great engines for economic growth by developing a great workforce with the youth here in our county. We also have started building upon that foundation by going out to businesses in the community and finding their needs, going back to the Academy and to Southern Crescent Tech and the other partners, Clayton State University and Gordon College, Gordon State as well, so that we can find and define curriculum that will help the business's needs day one, so that when a graduate comes out of the system, they're ready and productive day one. We also, our goal is to carry that over into retraining as well for those folks that may have made decisions earlier in their life that they would like to go back and revisit and get new additional skills. And then one thing that we're really excited about is we have a partnership right now with the ATDC. If you're not familiar with the ATDC, that is the state of Georgia's technology incubator. It's run by Georgia Tech. It's downtown off Spring Street. They approached us some time ago because they heard we were trying to create a general business incubator in Henry County. And so they asked if they could collaborate with us. And we're 1 month into that 6-month initial period where they're offering programming and support for new businesses starting up, or just folks that have an idea that they want to go into business for themselves, to help incubate or help that person through the process of establishing that business. A lot of folks have never negotiated a contract in their life, or they've never had to decide what are the important organizational documents or the legal advice that I need to start a business, and we're trying to accomplish that through our incubator. So you'll hear a little bit more about the incubator in just a moment, but that's a real exciting project for us as we try to just help local Henry County residents establish their businesses. And then the last leg of One Henry is our Partnership for Success. Partnership for Success. And that is where we are out in the community right now trying to raise the funds to support the activities. One Henry started 3 years ago, and so far over 200 volunteers have participated in our process. And what we did is, from a grassroots standpoint, what does the county need? And all of these volunteers are just local people that live right here among us that know and want to have a say-so in the future of Henry County. So our partnership of One Henry Partnership for Success is the arm of the organization that's out trying to raise money, and one of the reasons I'm here tonight. So with that, if we could go to this video, and this will tell you a little bit about where we're headed in the future. Real brief video. Thank you.
As a result of the state's transportation network, Henry County is poised to become a hub for economic growth in the Atlanta metro region over the next 5 years. Henry County is uniquely positioned for growth and is not only located in close proximity to key infrastructure components that contribute to a thriving economy, but is a pass-through for trades on their way to and from Atlanta and the Port of Savannah. The growth of Henry County is on the horizon, and to ensure that the growth has a positive impact on our community as Henry County citizens, we need to carefully plan for this growth and manage it ourselves. One Henry Partnership for Success provides a blueprint for embracing and managing this growth with benefits for every citizen in Henry County.
One Henry began 3 years ago with a mission to advance the economic prosperity and wellness of Henry County. With more than 200 business, government, education, and community leaders lending their time, talent, and energy, significant progress has already been made in the areas of professional services, workforce development, transportation, and quality of life. Now, One Henry is ready to make a major step forward with the development of a Center for Education and Entrepreneurship as the focal point of a workforce development zone for Henry County residents and businesses. Please come and join this effort.
One Henry will partner with the Academy for Advanced Studies and post-secondary education partners to create a center for practical career training to demonstrate how serious we are about meeting the workforce needs. The center will include offices for executive director and support staff, as well as future space for entrepreneurial support services. Projected costs of the Center for Education and Entrepreneurship are expected at $2.5 million. Now let's take a brief look at the components of One Henry Partnership for Success and how they factor into the overall success of Henry County.
A highly trained workforce is a key factor in economic growth. It will enable us to recruit and retain quality jobs right here in Henry County. This same well-trained workforce is equally important to the success of our existing businesses and industry.
One Henry will survey workforce needs, expand and enhance education and training programs, establish apprenticeship programs, expand Academy for Advanced Studies offerings, and multiply post-secondary programs. Projected cost for workforce development, $50,000.
For Henry County to reach its full potential, it must expand its entrepreneurial development efforts while continuing to support and grow our existing small and medium-sized businesses.
One Henry will visit with local small businesses to assess their needs, establish an incubator program for entrepreneurs and small business owners, advocate for pro-business permitting regulations and practices, partner with Technology Association of Georgia to develop a technology presence in South Metro, host an annual forum of elected officials, business leaders, educators, and economic development partners. Projected cost for professional services and corporate solutions, $650,000.
Henry County combines the best of Southern charm with amenities rarely found in small towns, superior medical services, higher education, as well as recreational and cultural opportunities. In our new economy, people will increasingly seek the best surroundings and quality of life along with a robust economy.
One Henry will develop public recreation activities for millennials, families, and older adults. Advocate for the development of an amphitheater. Implement a study to establish an entertainment district. Promote public art. Provide resources to enhance art education in Henry County schools. Projected cost for arts and leisure, $125,000.
Transportation will continue to be a critical component of the Henry County economy. Expanding and maintaining an effective transportation infrastructure to move residents, workers, and visitors around and through our community will have an impact on current and future business and industry in Henry County. Our ability to attract new business, promote existing businesses, and enhance our quality of life will depend heavily on our transportation system.
One Henry will advocate for traffic solutions, work with Henry County Development Authority to create community improvement districts to support traffic relief, continue to advocate for an additional interchange along I-75. Projected cost for traffic, $50,000.
Henry County must enhance its image as a community in tune with its heritage and focused on its future. Henry County is blessed with great people, a beautiful setting, abundant resources, strong values, and a superlative work ethic, making our county a great place to live, work, operate a business, and raise a family. With everyone working together, we can redefine Henry County as a unique destination where people will want to visit and share our dreams.
One Henry will work with the cities, the county, the Chamber of Commerce, and other groups to promote a positive image of Henry County as truly One Henry. Implement social media campaigns to promote events and activities. Host a signature event for state and regional news media, economic development leaders, and state government leaders to share the good news about Henry County. Projected cost for image and communications, $125,000. Total projected cost for One Henry Partnership for Success, $3.5 million over 5 years.
Now is the time to take advantage of the opportunities in front of us.
Now is the time to take control of our economic destiny.
Now is the time to come together and support One Henry Partnership for Success.
Together.
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 With our county, our municipalities, businesses, education, and community leaders working together toward a common goal, we can achieve success for Henry. Your investment in One Henry Partnership for Success will advance the economic prosperity and educational well-being of Henry County.
You can tell who has the personality in that video, but and who doesn't. But again, thank you for this opportunity this evening. I'll just leave you with, obviously the biggest dollars are the Education Entrepreneur Center, the $2.5 million. We have commitments from Clayton State University and Gordon State that they will establish campuses here in the county in that facility. We have the facility already identified and under contract. So we are moving ahead. We have donors to this project from individuals in this county to businesses in this county and other municipalities such as yourselves in this county. And we would just ask that you would support our efforts to continue to build this project and make Henry County a better place to live. If you would like, it's a 5-year campaign that we're on. We are going to use leverage to get the center up and running earlier, but we're seeking a $10,000 donation each year for 5 years to help us with this project, and that's the same ask that we're making of each of the cities in the county. And we appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Any questions from the council members or the audience?
Can you tell me where is it going to be located?
The building that we have under contract right now is right at the corner of Lakemont and Keys Ferry. It is right at the entrance to Southern Crescent Tech. We targeted that area because the Academy for Advanced Studies and Southern Crest Technical College is right there. So what we're trying to do is create a workforce development zone, and that's the area that we're targeting. Now the incubator, Stockbridge has been really trying to establish the incubator within their city, but that it's yet to be determined where exactly the incubator would be housed.
Any questions from the audience?
Yes, ma'am. That's a very good question. An incubator will typically provide you with the support in collaboration with the Small Business Development Center at Clayton State University. Will provide the support to help you write a business plan that you can carry to a bank or someone to find that type of startup capital. But the incubator will also, through our relationship with ATDC, I just found out last week that in Georgia alone there was $180 million last year of funds given to startup companies to help with their capital needs. And most of that was given through the ATDC in Atlanta. So they have the resources to bring capital to what they call accelerate the process, which is a function of an incubator, but usually it doesn't involve the initial startup. It's to accelerate the development of a company.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Derek, you got anything else? Need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn the workshop.
All in favor? We're adjourned at 18:25.
I didn't want to hold you up.
Just two right now, but I think some of them are just done.
There are a couple of, there's a couple seats up here.
It's Tuesday.
I see y'all trying to get it ready down there on King Street. Was it West King Street? Yeah. I know. I think we got a few days. It's gonna be cold though.
She's never been surprised. She didn't know we don't.
I've never been either.
Well, you can come with us. Can he have all?
He can. I've been several times. He's not far.
Oh, I can't wait.
You have to find out. Like,
Oh,
what part you're going
I didn't read it. Wait a minute. Disney 2018. I have a file. We already went. I got our clothes laid out. It's in my room, so she doesn't see it. I have all of, I have an itinerary for each day. I mean, this is not bad.
You got the train passes and everything.
I've got notes of places I want to make sure to see. And her friends are out. Some of her Girl Scouts.
My wife. I mean, I like it.
It was a little too far. It was a little too far from where I grew up. So we between Virginia and New York. So I just, we had beach, like, have you ever been to Florida beaches? I said, well, yes. She's right. There was you could go down to Florida all over that.
So where did you vacation? Did you go to like?
My mom worked there. So we
Y'all would go.
everywhere. Wow. Yeah, we go to New York every Christmas to see my kids.
Oh, nice. I want to do that.
We would come to Atlanta often.
especially at the time of the week, thank you for this day. We thank this city, we thank you for every person here tonight that represents this city. Father, we ask that the citizens have input, that they listen, local ears, and ask our, watch over our military, our police department, our first responders. Just be with us and keep us safe tonight. And I pray. Amen. Moving on, approval of minutes, workshop/council meeting, February 13th, 2018.
I make a motion that we approve the workshop minutes and council meeting February the 13th.
Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Invited guest, Mr. Gills here is our representative here. Karen? I don't see her. Okay, moving on. Public comment. Mr. Gary Smith. You come to the podium, give your name, address, and your comments.
Last time I got to go up there. My name is R. Gary Smith. I lived in Hampton for a number of years. I've tried to participate in a number of things, but that's not what I'm standing up here for today. Some of you I know, some of you don't. I am who I am. The reason I come here today is to do something different. I'm not going to say a bunch of negative, blank, blank. I want to say something positive. It won't take me more than 3 minutes. I got 2.5 left. When it comes time for one of us little people out there that choose to live here to need something from the city, so often it seems like when we try to involve a government or the politicians in our private lives to do what we think that they should do, sometimes it's like the VA. You got to fight them tooth and nail to do anything. But in this case, I was really pleasantly surprised that there's people that have managed to take and do something that was more than what I expected. Getting something done in one day in Hampton is a possibility. Believe me, it happened. If you don't believe me, ask Brandy. She's the one that took care of the problem. And that entails talking to the people over in the city public works. And I don't know who over there other than John, but there's some people over there that take care of our people. There were 3 lights in various places that my wife chooses for me to walk her dog. After it gets dark, it's dark. All 3 of them were taken care of the next day after I came up and walked to that window in there and talked to Randy. And I was just really thought that it was important for me to come up here and share with you people that might not know them. And she's been here for years. She's done an excellent job. She don't get paid nothing extra. But she's a good person. She's got a good heart, and she takes care of her job. And thanks for listening.
Thank you, sir. Is Sandra here? Come on up.
Hey, how you doing? My name
You
is.
may want to pull the mic down toward you some. There you go.
My name is Sandra Palacios. I work in El Agave, Tiramia Mexican restaurant. And we did have a big dumpster between the jailhouse and the jailhouse brewery and an empty, it's an empty lot right now. So the city put a big dumpster there with a door, but they never secured the door for not going any farther than where the parking space is. So I parked my car where the parking space is, and so the wind came and hit my car, the back door of my car, not the back door, the back, you know, the rear, the passenger door of the car. So I took the city manager that before I moved the car and everything, I came to the city and told Mr. Darrell, at that time he was the city manager. I took him to the scene, he saw it, he looked at it, he knew that he was hit by the door and everything. And so he told me to get the estimate and bring it to the city. So that's what I did. On the meantime, he was leaving, he changed. So I bring the report to the city, and it's like $1,800 damage. And the city put the pole after I told them about the accident, because I know that the accident would occur if they wouldn't put the pole there. I have a picture over here where they put the pole and everything, if you want to look at it, but I just feel like whoever, you know, if the city decide to put that door there, they should have secured that door for an accident, or before that accident happened, you know. So it's an $1,800 damage, and nobody has paid me anything. Nobody has resolved anything. That's the reason I'm here.
Derek, you're looking at me. You must have some comments on this.
Yes, sir. I asked Ms. Saunders to come. We filed this with our insurance, and they denied the claim. Basically, they said they couldn't, you know, it was not, the city was not at fault, even though it was the city door. And everything she said is accurate. She brought it to then city manager Darrell Dotche. Unfortunately, there was not a police report done at the time. That would have probably helped the insurance issue. I told her it was kind of out of my hands at this point, since the claim had been denied, and her only other recourse was coming before you to ask for the city's assistance in her bills for her car. Is that correct, Ms. Pat? We have she presented us with the estimate and did what Mr. Darrell asked her, correct?
Excuse me. The reason I never get the police report was because I took the city manager there. He should have told me, let's call the police and make a report. But to me, when I took him over there, you know, being the city manager, I thought that everything was going to be okay. But no, apparently no, that was not enough.
Well,
You know.
anytime there's a claim, you are requested to bring up something in writing.
I did the writing, and
You
I
did.
have the estimate, and the city has everything, yes.
Yes, ma'am, you did. And once it's brought up to us, we turn it over to our insurance company. The adjusters denied it, stating that it was not a fault of the city because we do not know who did not hook the door, who did not. And when the wind got it, it was not, the city of Hampton didn't use that dumpster anyway. It was everybody else along the street. So the possibility of one of our gentlemen leaving it open is slim to none. And since there was no witnesses as to who left it open, that's the reason that they
Not
denied it.
not witnesses who left it open, but it was a witnesses that the guys at the brewery saw it when that happened. But the thing is, if the city, if that door would have hit a little girl or baby or whatever, what would have happened? Then they will not be the city's fault. They put the pole. Why did they put the pole after the accident? Because they knew that it should be something to stop that door from turning all the way around. See, I mean, I just feel that they should have secured that door, you know, to the point where if I have all the parking space in line in here, you know, I should have put something over here to stop that door from coming any farther.
But it did have.
And they should have prevented that. I'm sorry, ma'am?
It did have a hook on it to keep it from flying open.
Pat,
No, ma'am, it
we
did
on the
not.
time limit? Have we got a?
No, ma'am, it did not. They put the pole after the accident.
Right, I'm not saying the pole.
The hinge.
The hinge, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was there from the beginning.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, the hinge, but not, once you open the door, if somebody went in to throw the trash, if a wind come in, you cannot stop that door. The door would go right open, you know?
Sandra, you got some of the council people like to see the picture.
Yes. This is not my car, but this is the closest I can take the picture. Right there. This was the space where the dumpster is. Can somebody?
Show us where your car was parked.
Car was parked just exactly where this car is, right here. Right here. It's a parking space, like on the city, right? Okay. The door was here. This is the space for the dumpster. This is the place where we put the phone after the accident. So if that phone will be here, because this is not a parking space anymore. If that phone will stay, it will be there in place before the accident. That don't never really hit my car. It's an $1,800.
So they put the pole there, so
After
the dumpster would be put there.
They should have put this when they put the door to prevent an accident from happening, right? So they put this pole after. It's a hole, that hole is still there because after they removed the dumpster, they came and removed the pole. The dumpster was over here and the door in front of it. So the door can go all the way and when it hit this car, if that now would have been parked over there, which it was the place of my car.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I would ask the city attorney, your opinion on this?
First of all, good evening. Just hearing this, it's my understanding that the insurance did deny the claim, and they probably denied it because the standard for government is known or should have known of any likely damage or injury. These kind of things come up a lot. Maybe a pothole or a water meter cover or something could have happened or be damaged. But if a city does not know or had no reason to know that the injury, unfortunately, that Ms. Sandra endured would have happened, then that's a basis for denial from the insurance company because they don't cover anything that's just negligence. It has to be a higher standard, which is the known or should have known. I'll give you an example, if you like. City I represented in both lights were green, right? Perpendicular traffic, both lights were green, accident. The drivers of the accident sued the city saying that your lights were broken, and that's what caused our injuries. In that case, insurance denied the claim. We went to court, and the court denied the claim, saying that the city didn't know. They fixed it thereafter, but the city did not know that the lights were broken. But once they had knowledge and they didn't do anything, then the city would be on the hook.
Do you have anything from any council member? Okay, thank you, ma'am. We'll move forward. Any more public comments? Come on up and give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Don Landis. I live at 58 West King Road, and I'm going to read this so I don't deviate from what I have. I've been a member of the residents of the community for about 30 years, and we have a very diverse community. We always have. And if we're to be successful as a community, we need to work together. The council must work as a unit, not as separate factions or against them against us kind of thing. We had that kind of prejudice and intolerance before, and the fight against prejudice and bigotry was won because it was waged from the high moral ground. Prejudice was put aside and our nation has healed somewhat. We need to continue to heal and come together to better our community. This can't happen if we're divided one against another. We need to move on or we'll lose the high ground that all men are created equal. Not one is more equal than any other. Biblically speaking, there's no such thing as races. There's only one race, the human race. Unless we live out that truth, we will slip back to the days when prejudice and bigotry was the rule. Racism and bigotry is the same whether done by a majority or a minority, white or black, black or white, black or Hispanic, whatever. Racism is racism. The vote to take at the last meeting regarding the lawyer being fired or not, it's not really the issue. The issue is how it was done. It seemed to have been done by some council members who didn't really confer with the other council members. There wasn't a consensus there. The vote fell along racial lines. A white lawyer was fired and a black lawyer was hired. Whether or not it's true, it smells racism. When asked why this was done, it was said by one of the council members, "I don't have to tell you why." Remember, you're elected officials and are servants of the people of this community. You've taken an oath to be impartial and fair and serve all the people of this community. There should be no actions by the council member that brings reproach or disdain on the council. We want to have a council that is upstanding, fair, impartial, without respect of persons. A council whose members will serve all the people to the best of their ability. I think some of the members of this council owe the community an apology, and I make a commitment to honor your oath of office to serve honorably.
Any more public comments?
Good afternoon. My name is Dexter Cladd. I live at 215 Creekside Circle, Hampton, Georgia, and I'm one of the 5 HOA board members. We have an active board. We do the best we can to enforce our covenant. We want our residents and the city of Hampton to be proud of Bridgeport, but we do need help with code enforcement. I believe when Mrs. J.D. Mathis retired a year ago, I think her responsibilities were divided up between 3 people. So if we can identify who has those current responsibilities, it would be of great help. We do have, I guess, 2 extreme cases. The most serious case that we need help with is an individual that's renting a garage, a thriving garage. It's been going on for a couple of years, so you can imagine that we have tow trucks coming and going, cars parked in the street, cars parked in the rear, and people are starting to suffer from quality of life. So if we can, we want to establish a partnership with this individual so we can be proactive and prevent this from happening again, because we are a growing community, so we're going to have a continued issue. So if we can find out who is this point of contact, we want to establish a partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any more public comments?
Good evening. My name is Bill Dodgen, 15 Shelby Street. A few people in here remember me about 13 years ago. I was the first guy in this town that asked for a sports bar in a public meeting, okay, and wrote it on the chalkboard. Really, people made fun of me, okay. But tonight I'm here and I got to ask you something. This ordinance tonight, no beer and no park, okay. It's just you can't. I Googled cities today. I Googled some Naples, Florida, some of the finest cities in America. They don't have beer in their park. They don't have alcohol in their park. It's a no alcohol zone, like no smoking, and I mean, I'm not against alcohol. I wasn't against it when we done it last year, but I just vote no on that first one, or get the parks, no alcohol, period. I mean, we got it on the streets. You got it in the depot. They can use the deck. They got plenty of room to drink. And I'm just seriously opposed to alcohol in parks in Hampton. And I hope you vote no on it, okay? Thank you very much.
Don Greer, I saw your hand come up.
Hey, Don Greer, 20 McDonough Street.
I too just had concerns about the candidate selection process for interviews for the attorney. Again, I mean nothing negative toward anybody and no disrespect to you, ma'am. It just seemed like it might have been more of a closed process. I'm not sure if it was even posted or advertised or how the folks were selected or if all of the council members seemed to be involved in the selection for the candidates for interviews. Openness is a good thing. Sunlight wherever it lands is always good in government, I think. Also, I do have concerns. Again, nothing negative toward anybody, but to have one council person negotiating salary just also seems like there should be a little more light on that process and a little bit, maybe some city management involved in that. So.
Thank you, ma'am. I know it, and all I can say is that there was advertised, and we did interview 4 or 5 attorneys that day, and I'll leave it at that. Miss Oliver, you're next.
Esma Oliver, 20 College Street. In regards to the policies of the council, when Mr. Tommy Ingram left, I asked why. A council person told me that they did not have to tell why, because he just disappeared and the public knew nothing at all about the reason why or anything, whether he resigned, whether he was fired. And I was curious, and that's what I was told. You didn't have to, and it's a policy that the council does not have to say why they do what they do or what happens with personnel. So that's what I'm wondering, has that changed now that we have pretty much a new council, different council members? Do they have to, does that rule still stand for them? They don't have to say why they make the choices that they make.
I can only address for myself, and I'll let my city attorney jump in on this. When we talk about personnel issues, it would get me in trouble in court, I'm afraid, if I talked out in the public. Is that correct?
You're right about personnel, Mayor. If the citizens are referring, however, to folks that are contractors, like I would be, then those matters are not personnel.
I see, so that's the difference. Contractors do not have to follow that process for choosing contractors, is not subject to the same rules as personnel matters, employees coming and going and the reasons why. Is that correct?
You're right. The Open Meetings Act does have an exception where executive sessions are reserved for personnel matters and for other matters, but to respond to your question, employees, which a contractor is not, that is something that can be done in a closed session.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. More public comment? Linda?
Good evening. Linda Dodgen, 15 Shelby Street. Most of you know I worked for an insurance company for 26 years. What happened to Miss Sandra is pitiful. We paid on claims where the wind blew a door open. Understandably, nobody knew the wind would blow that door open, and we paid on it. $1,800. You're going to deny this woman who has done so much for this town. She has built up a business in this town, fixed up a building, my understanding, with thousands of dollars out of her pocket, that you can literally walk into this restaurant and not stick to the floor. And y'all will deny her $1,800 for a door that the city owned. Now granted, you might not have known the door would swing that far, but it did. Whether somebody left it unlatched, nobody knows. but it hit her car, I assure you. And we're going to deny her $1,800 for what she's brought into this city with her business. It's pitiful.
Thank you, ma'am. Come on up and give us your name and address and
Good evening, everybody. I actually do not live in Hampton, but I'm opening up a business here. I live at 125 Archstone Square in McDonough, and the business is a children's shelter called Savananda. I actually emailed, I think, everybody on the panel. I didn't get a response, though. I know everybody's really busy, but what I did was just emailed you guys, just letting you know that the business will be open hopefully in April, and we are serving children from 13 to 18 adolescent girls. We're housing 8 girls, and it's actually, like I said, called Savananda. It means the joy of service, and we're providing temporary shelter for those children through Department of Family and Children's Services. That's it.
thank you, ma'am.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay.
It is a confidential shelter, but it's not far.
When is it opening again?
Hopefully April.
Mr. Mitchell? Okay, thank you, ma'am.
It's Dr. Karen Landry, Landry. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any more public comments? Okay, since there's no old business, we'll move to news business. First reading. The first reading of ordinance number 444, an ordinance to amend chapter 6 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Hampton, Georgia, to amend section 6-12 entitled Carrying Alcohol Beverages Upon City Property Prohibited, subsection C, comma, D, and E, to add subsections G and H to provide for a coefficient, to provide for an appeal, to provide for servability, to provide for real or conflicting ordinances, to provide for an adoption and effective date, and to provide for other lawful purposes. Yes, please explain. Before you do that, one of my council members needs to recuse himself from this.
Okay, Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance that was sent to me by staff, obviously, to amend your existing ordinance number 435. Originally, I'll tell you that the amendments were going to be limited to removing the particular and specific areas of the 4 city-owned properties where alcohol was going to be allowed. If you recall from your current ordinance, where it said train depot, it was limited to just the inside as opposed to the parking lot. I recall that conversation being had at the February meeting. And so it removed those specific areas where it would allow for the alcohol consumption on city-owned properties to be at that property, but it could be in or outdoor. But I went further and just did some research of the state law, which is Title III, as you know, of the OCGA, and added a few, and looked at some other cities that allow special event permits, and just added some parameters on granting those special event permits that I didn't see the ordinance had. Those parameters apply if the alcohol is sold, or if it's even like a BYOB, where you bring your own bottle. As you see in your ordinance, those parameters include requiring businesses to provide their brick and mortar alcohol license if they're going to be selling. It limits the sale of alcohol on a Sunday to the times allowed by state law. You know, you can't start until 12:30. It also requires that You have to be limited to the type of alcohol or type of malt beverage that your brick and mortar license requires. And if you're going to bring your own bottle, then your event is only on that day at that time. It can't last beyond that. It gives the chief of police the authority to revoke your license if you do go outside of the parameters. It also gives appeal rights for any applicants that may seek your approval on a special event permit. One thing after talking to Councilwoman Bodie is that there are some things in the actual application that need to be beefed up with respect to number of police officers that will be required depending on your occupancy, the size of your event, parking, some of those things that this ordinance doesn't address, but our application that this ordinance supports can. And so if you approve ordinance number 444, it would give those parameters that I just explained and allow for your applicants to have appeal rights, which is important in accordance with Title III for alcohol licenses.
Do I have a motion to approve or deny? Okay, I have a first and second. Any discussion? Go ahead, Ms. Bodie.
I guess this is more for Ms. Wiggins. I understand the citizens' concerns, how this is written, and right now it goes by the event form. Could we put in there that this does exclude McBrayer Park from ever being an issue?
Obviously, legally, I don't have an opinion. You can, right? And that would just have to be a policy decision that this board makes. You can exclude or include any city-owned property that you wish in that first subsection of the ordinance where you list, currently now it's 4 locations, Tommy's and Cherry, Train Depot, I can't remember the other. Oh yes, the library, the old Griffin Road address. If you want to add or remove, obviously you can, yes ma'am.
Any more discussion?
Can I just?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
If it's not listed, however, it's not allowed. The ordinance that you have here, your current one and this amended one, says that you can only, alcohol is excluded from city property, period. You can only have it with a special event permit at these 4 locations. McBrayer Park is not one of these 4 locations. You see what I'm saying? So it's excluded.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? You in favor of? Okay. Opposed? Pass 4-1. Moving on, Mayor and Council to approve or disapprove Resolution 18-1, a resolution to approve to impose moratorium on commercial and residential zoning, annexation, rezoning, and building permits for a period not to exceed 180 days while the city considers changes to its zoning ordinances.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
I would like to recuse myself. I own property here that this is going to affect, and so I need to recuse myself.
Go ahead, sir.
Resolution, again, staff initiated. As you know, the city was granted a sizable amount in a grant to have our zoning ordinance rewritten. That grant must be spent within a certain time period. I did meet along with Miss Denise McKay with the writers. It's a company, TSW, I believe, who's doing our zoning rewrite. It was recommended that because the zoning ordinance will change substantially after this rewrite, that during the time it's being rewritten and looked at by the citizens and also by this board, that the city consider putting a halt to anything new that may come in, so it potentially not conflict with the new zoning ordinance. I did speak to a number of council members today and preceding days about this moratorium. And I understand on both sides the argument about how this could hinder maybe potential economic development and also any new business or new annexations or any new permits that may want to come in. But that's what this would do if approved. It would put a halt to any rezonings, any annexations, any building permits, commercial or residential, until the zoning rewrite is complete. I'll tell you that the plan is to have that before you for a first read in July and with an adoption and second read in August. There are a number of citizen meetings scheduled between now and then.
Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we disapprove Resolution 18-1.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Yes, Mr. Lowe. I won't.
I don't want to get the hook.
Okay, Pat.
I'm going to read this because otherwise I will go over my time frame, but I'm not an attorney and I don't get paid near as much to be here tonight as this lady does, but I'm opposed to this proposed moratorium for several reasons. First of all, it says that the maintaining for the health, morals, safety, security, peace, and the general welfare of the city of Hampton. I don't believe these reasons are legitimate. Cases cited on page 1 reference exigent circumstances. U.S. legal definitions define exigent circumstance, easy for you to say, exigent circumstances as exigent circumstances refer to situations that demands unusual or immediate action, and this allows people to circumvent usual procedures. In other words, emergency conditions. I do not think there's anything in this resolution that can be defended as an exigent circumstance. There's a lot of talk about aesthetics and other fancy words, and I'm guessing whoever wrote this got paid by the word for it because it's extremely wordy. But the bottom line is there's been a delay in getting the new zoning laws drafted, and this resolution would stop basically all development and building in Hampton. On page 3, it says, whereas it is in the best interest of the citizens of Hampton to place a moratorium on the application and issuance of residential and commercial zoning permits, annexations, and rezonings until the review is completed. Where's the emergency? It's not an exigent circumstance. There's no emergency there. Now, again, should you as a council decide to go ahead with the moratorium, I would submit that you are using the wrong form. The handbook for Georgia mayors and council members defines thusly, ordinances are laws enacted by the mayor. Resolutions are not laws, they're opinions. Laws are defendable in court. Opinions are not defendable in court. An ordinance is an act of law and enforceable. A resolution is an opinion.
The proposed moratorium is designed to deny a property holder the rights granted to that property owner by the laws of the City of Hampton. The city's planning and zoning ordinance is just that, an ordinance, a law. If you're going to deny an individual's rights granted under the law, an opinion would not be defendable in court, but a law would be defendable. If you really feel this need, do it right and write an ordinance. You are instructing city employees to ignore the law and not accept applications. If you are going to instruct an employee to ignore a law, I would think you should do it with another law, not an opinion. Finally, if the property owner does not have a vested interest in the property, you are going to require that individual or entity to jump through additional hoops to prove that vested interest, as the proposed resolution under the Supreme Court decision of Cannon v. City in Hampton. The city has imposed a moratorium in the past. Back in the dark ages when I was on the council, we did. But we had a sewer capacity problem. We had numbers, we had everything to prove that we had a legitimate reason for a moratorium. So I would suggest that either you disapprove it or you do it in the right form.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Any more comments? Okay, I have a motion to disapprove and a second. All in favor of the disapproval? Pass 5-0. Okay. Well, since I'm on here, the next one, I guess, Mayor, to discuss a refund for the liquor license at Cheers. You know, back in is the owner of the Cheers store here? Would you step up, please, sir? Because I probably have some questions for you.
Yes, sure. Mayor.
My understanding, in 2016, you came to the city and paid us $10,000. Is that correct?
6,000 was a fees, actually. That's what we paid,
Okay, well,
to my knowledge. Is that right?
okay, 6,000?
Yes.
6250.
Yeah, 6250.
And that you paid for 2016 and 2017?
Yes, and 2018 as
And
well.
when did you open?
September 2017.
So you did not sell that first bottle of alcohol in 2016?
Not 2016 complete, and up to September 2017, we were not open.
Would you had to have a city license before you could get a state license?
Yes.
But you still didn't sell nothing in 2016?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, may I interrupt for one
Go
second?
ahead.
After speaking with Ms. Wiggins, some things have come up today, this afternoon, that may help the council make an easier decision on this. I recommend that we table this for one month. I know it's been going on for a while, but if we could table this for one more month, I think it would clear up a lot of things legally on how this should go.
I'm going to ask you, it's your money. Are you okay waiting another month, one way or the other?
That's fine.
Okay, let's table this until we get all the facts.
Yeah, no problem.
Postpone this till next month. Excuse me, postpone it. Moving on, council to... Okay. I have a motion to postpone.
Because you changed it from table to postpone.
Okay. You won't need one.
If it was tabled.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Council to approve, disapprove authority of authorizing the mayor to sign agreement with Godwin Mills and Chadwood Industry to review, compile, and submit the City of Hampton yearly watershed protection plan to the Georgia Environment Protection Division at a cost of $22,500. Ms. City, go ahead.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve, authorize the city clerk to Godwin Mills and Haywood for the watershed protection plan for 22,500. I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Mayor and council to discuss and vote on repaying $765,000 of the original $1 million from the sewer debt relief account to the general ledger account.
Yes. So during our finance meeting, we realized that the council had directed our clerk to remove $1 million out of our general ledger fund to pay off our sewer debt relief, not realizing that we have a a sewer debt relief account, and that account had $1 million surplus, maybe a little bit over $1 million. And so what we're basically just saying is that we want to repay it out of that sewer debt fund, move the money from that account over to the general ledger of $765,000. But we have, the reason it's not the $1 million is because we wanted to leave the amount for the remaining of the year, even though that's not how it's paid. It comes in each month. But we wanted to still have that cushion in that account just in case. So that is the reason there is a difference of about $35,000. So I would like to make a motion that we repay the general ledger account from the sewer debt relief account of $765,000.
May I move this for second?
Any discussion? Mr. Lowe?
Harley Lowe, 171 Lake Hampton Drive. If you're going to be moving money of that nature, does that not require a budget amendment?
I guess I need to first ask what your financing requirements are. I don't know those. Usually that does require a budget amendment. Did you do one to move it in the first place?
No, we didn't.
Is it because that's not, and obviously not knowing your policies in moving money, is that because you did not need it? You don't have a policy to cover?
So, yes.
I was just gonna say it was not in the budget. It was what was considered a surplus in our general ledger.
It was a surplus in the general fund? Okay. But you're taking it from the sewer debt relief account to give it back to the general fund? I have another question. How did it get over to how did you move it if it was an overflow of the general fund, how did you get it over to the sewer debt relief?
We did not. We paid the loan straight from our general ledger.
I see. You paid the sewer debt.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
see. And so now you're paying it back.
Yes, ma'am.
Since you're in the process of getting ready, and I think the next item on the agenda is to discuss a budget amendment, to make it clean and to make it more transparent, I would suggest that you seriously consider that in your next budget amendment process, because it's a considerable amount of money. You're moving it. There's always a lot of discussion in the community about the sewer debt relief costs. The citizens are concerned about that, and in order to fully be transparent, and I would just from a citizen standpoint suggest that you consider doing that as part of your budget amendment process, which should be happening shortly since you are required to have one once per quarter. Thank you.
The other thing, Mayor, is that there's no reason that can't be voted on. We can simply memorialize it with a budget amendment, a move. That's a simple fix.
So, clarify that for me.
We can reduce the motion down to writing.
Okay. Henry? Go ahead, Henry.
I was just curious. I didn't realize that we had $1 million in the sewer debt release fund. I thought we was only collecting enough money to cover the sewer debt payment. How did we end up with that much money extra?
We collect a sewer debt relief amount. It's based on how many gallons of water is used each month. Based on what we have to pay, that was not enough money. We were not collecting enough. We actually went in the hole one month many years ago. So we started taking the money that is from the sewer base rate and adding that to it. Because that's going to be collected anyway. This has been many years ago and it was approved. And that's where the added money came from. Because it's like I said, we charge the sewer debt relief based on the usage. But the sewer base rate is a flat rate. So a little bit more is going in there each month. So it has built up, and it's built up over all the years.
I guess I'm confused on that one because back, I think when Tommy Ingram was actually here, we was in the hole on the sewer debt relief. And so we're just taking the base rate and using that as sewer debt relief for the most part?
We had to do that in order to meet our obligations in the future.
Pat, what is our obligation monthly on that sewer debt relief?
I pay monthly $64,881, but it's actually $62,600 and some odd. Because we do pay over the amount. Try to get it down quickly.
Ms. Oliver, go ahead. Come on up to the mic.
So that figure that you just quoted, $65,000 some dollars, that's the balance to pay off the debt?
I wish. That's our monthly. That's what we pay monthly.
That's a monthly
That's
payment.
what we pay monthly.
That's what we pay monthly.
And this 765 was a lump sum to accelerate the payoff. Is that?
That we actually took $1 million out to accelerate. And that's been paid.
I see. Okay, and the 765 was the amount coming from the general fund.
So that's what we want to put back into the general fund.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Go ahead.
It is my understanding that, and this is from the GMA course that I finished up this past week, that any utility that you have as a municipality has to pay itself back. That means that you can't take money from a general fund or any other fund and pay off a utility without paying it back. It's considered a loan.
I seek my city attorney advice.
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm happy to get it for you.
Okay, Bill?
When the sewer plant was constructed, we all got a letter, and it told us how much we was gonna have to pay. And it told us before y'all voted on it, we could all come up here and fuss with y'all if we didn't like it, okay? But my point being is, that money that I pay for that sewer debt should go before that sewer debt. Now, if you need more money, we got a bank over here. I know you had to pay interest, but I don't think you should touch that sewer debt. I think every penny it says on everybody's bill that they're paying on that sewer debt, because it's a big one. It's the biggest one we ever had. It ought to go toward that sewer debt. Thank you.
Dawn, did I see your hand up? Okay. Go ahead.
So that is correct, Mr. Bill. Sewer debt money should go towards sewer debt, and I think that's the correction that we're trying to make. The sewer debt account had money to pay the $1 million that the council requested to be paid on last year, and instead of it coming out of that account, it came out of the general ledger account. And so all we're just saying is that, okay, you took it from the wrong account, so let's put the money back where it's supposed to be at.
Bill, come on up.
And you're talking about community development, how much money it brings in the city, okay? So community development did bring some money in the city. It did. But I don't know how much. I don't think any of you know how much. But when you had them 200 people over at the depot, my sewer bill, just my sewer debt bill in January was $50. And it was based on the rate of water. Part of it's based on the rate of water I use. If you have them 200 people at the depot for 6 hours and they're drinking alcohol, okay, and they run the sewer plant bill up, but yet they got to finish a little old fee that don't even pay the power bill, or it don't even pay the power bill. My point being is that money that's come in, it shouldn't be against the law if they want to use some other city funds to pay the sewer debt. Because, you know, y'all need to do a evaluation on that depot. It's a money pit. I'm not against it, but, you know, it cost the city, it's cost us $500,000 since, I promise you, since the park was built.
Thank you, Bill. Any more comments? Henry?
I guess I'm still a little confused about the amount of money that you said is in this fund. So we're are we not just taking what we need of the base rate to add it to the sewer debt to make the payments, or are we taking all of it and putting everything in there?
We're taking all of it. We
Okay.
don't have a way of dividing it.
It's divided on the bill that everybody gets. Because what that does is that's taking your profit. It's not showing the profit that you would show on your sewer. It would reflect something on that and not come out right. Don't seem to me like.
And you made, it's up to you. Okay, all in favor, pass, to repaying the $765,000? Yeah. Come on up.
I still live at the same place that I did, you know, half hour ago. If you take out a loan, you got to repay it, right? And that's all we're trying to do here. And isn't that simple? Okay.
Any more comments now? Come on, Mr. Lowe. Okay.
Well, I'm thinking about moving. No. I think what we did, what the council did at that time, was there was an excess amount of funds in the general fund, which would have gone into reserves. Rather than putting it into reserves and putting it off, they decided to help the citizens of this community by paying $1 million down on the debt. If you have a mortgage or a car loan or whatever kind of loan you might have, if you have a principal amount and you're making interest payments on it, and you pay a large lump sum down against that principal, then you are saving money. This saved the citizens of this community money, shortened the length of the debt, and it would have otherwise gone into reserves because it was money that was not obligated for the operation of the city in that fiscal year. So it really wasn't a loan, it was an investment in the people in this community. And I think that if you look, I don't think you got $765,000 in the sewer debt relief fund right now. I don't think the balance is anywhere near that to move that money over. And if you're going to move it, I still maintain you need to do a budget amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Pat?
1 minute and 16 seconds. You're good.
Pat, how much do we have in the sewer debt fund? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I have a motion to move $765,000 of the original 1 million from the sewer debt account to the general ledger account. All in favor? All opposed? Pass 4-2. Mayor and council to set a date for public hearing for the first reading of the first 2018 budget amendment. Pat? Ann?
So with our finance meeting, we realized we need to have a workshop meeting for our finance department. Spoke with the assistant clerk and the clerk and the city manager in regards to having a workshop or special call meeting that included a workshop, a public hearing, and a budget amendment meeting, and to also go into executive session. So Tuesday is the first available date. Looking at in the afternoon if everybody can make it, or if we have another.
You're talking March the 17th?
March the 17th.
At what time?
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, I was looking at the wrong calendar. March the 20th.
Yes, March the 20th.
At what time?
4 o'clock. Is that good for everybody?
I would ask, with it dealing with the budget and the citizens' money, we do it at normal council time, 6 or 6:30, so everyone can attend that wants to.
Is that good for everybody? I'm good with that.
Henry?
I guess this will be, I guess, supposedly our first amendment or first review of the budget, and we're almost at the end of the 6 months, which we'll have to have supposed to have one after 6 months. So, to me, it looks like it would be just as well to wait until next month and have one meeting to cover the first and the second, and maybe at that time the new city manager may be on board and he could attend and be involved in this process.
So the ordinance says that we have to have a finance meeting quarterly. January, February, March. Is quarterly, is that what is considered? January, February, March?
That would be the first quarter, yes.
So,
Oh, that's right, because you're October to September, and yes, that would be the second.
that would be the second quarter, but January, February, March would be the second quarter.
That's correct.
So within that quarter is when we have to have a finance meeting, within the quarter.
Within the quarter.
Okay. So if we had this meeting on Tuesday, it would be within the quarter. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, it was brought to my attention, there is a DDA meeting that night at 6:30 on the same night.
Is that on the 20th? Okay. Look at Tuesday the 27th at 6 p.m. No. Yes, go ahead.
The section is 2-177 in the Code of Ordinances, and it says that the city manager or the assistant city clerk shall convene a workshop at least once per quarter. You did not have a workshop meeting in the first quarter. The purpose of that is to review the previous quarter, not to review the quarter that you're in. Why do you want to review the budget when you're in the middle of a quarter? You have the meeting, you have the quarterly review for the purpose. It may not say it exactly in the section, but I know what the intent was because I was there when it was written in '04, was to review the previous quarter because you don't have firm figures until the quarter is closed out. So in April, you would have a workshop to review the second quarter, which would be January, February, and March. If you have a review now, and then you have a review later, then you're going to end up having multiple workshops, multiple ordinances, multiple budget amendments, and it's not efficient if you do it that way. I think Mr. Byrd is correct. If you, in the first part of April, you have a budget review. You review the budget figures for the previous 2 quarters, an oversight. There wasn't a budget review during the first quarter, but okay. So you have a budget review in April, which will review the first 6 months of your budget cycle through the second quarter. At the end of the second quarter, you have firm figures so you can see where you are, where you're going, and what you need to do from there. That would be the logical, efficient way to do it. The way you're starting to think about doing it now, you're going to end up doing multiple amendments, multiple workshops, and it's just not efficient to do it that way. Thank you. I think I'm done.
Go ahead, Miss Oliver, come up to the mic. You know how this works now.
When did you have a review of the first quarter?
We did not.
You have not reviewed the first quarter?
No, ma'am, we have not.
Okay. So how would that work? You haven't reviewed the first quarter, but you will want to review the second quarter before the second quarter is completed. And would the first quarter be included in that second quarter review?
This would be a 6-month review of the budget.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
So the workshop meeting says that we will have a budget review meeting quarterly. Since we did not do a budget review in our first quarter, when we do this budget review, we will do the first quarter's numbers. That's what we will use.
My city attorney, can we not just do the 6-month review for all?
Can you repeat your question, sir?
Can I just do a 6-month review of the budget?
As I look at your ordinance about your requirements to have the quarterly review, to give me maybe about two minutes, I'll be able to answer that. So. Of your ordinances, that's in Article 5, which is finance, reads. The city manager, or in the absence of the city manager, the assistant city clerk shall call for a workshop to review the current year budget at least quarterly. So it has to be at least quarterly. This review shall be separate from the following year budget preparation activity. So if it's no less than quarterly, is the standard in your code.
The word shall mean will, not you have an option.
Exactly.
So we would be looking at the first quarter numbers then, if we go forward with this review.
If you go forward with this review, it says at least quarterly, right? So at the very least, you have to do it quarterly. So yes, you would be looking at your first quarter. Because the second quarter wouldn't have been over yet.
Henry?
Okay. So after the first 3 months, you're saying take the numbers that we had and review them and then make budget amendments to those numbers and not the numbers that we have at the end of this month, because that's going to change everything.
Obviously, I was not here, sir, for your first quarter. And so why it wasn't done then, I'm not sure. I can't speak on that. So now that we review, unfortunately, it may put you in a predicament where you will have numbers changing. It will change within a matter of days. That's why the ordinance is there for us to do it at least quarterly.
So the budget amendment that we've been looking at, that the committee looked at, is for up to date to March 1st. So should they use those numbers, or should they go back until the end of December and use those numbers?
You're saying the numbers that they would be looking at. So your quarterly review, if you have this one in March, right, will be for your first quarter, which would be October 1 through December 31st. Does that answer your question?
I guess we're looking at numbers for 5 months instead of 3 months. So we're gonna do budget reviews after 5 months instead of the quarterly meeting where we were supposed to look at it and review all of it at that point. I'm just making sure that we're doing it the way it's supposed
I think
to.
it would just be for the first 3 months. The March meeting would be just for the first 3 months, would it not?
That's what they're saying, right. But I'm just saying the numbers that you're looking at, you're supposed to review the first quarter. So are you looking at the first quarter numbers and that's what you're reviewing to decide what you need to do? Or are you looking for the whole 5 months? You're working into the second quarter now.
You're absolutely right. You would be working into the second quarter because we're almost over with the second quarter, right?
Right.
And so my recommendation is to look at the first 3 months, your first quarter.
Okay, still confused.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The ordinance states that we're going to have a finance, can you reread it for me?
I certainly can. I'm going to read both sections, okay? It's not long. Subsection A says, an operating budget and a capital improvements budget shall be prepared as set forth in the city charter each year by the city manager and submitted to the mayor. That's the process you guys will be starting up soon. Who shall further submit the budgets to the city council with such recommendations as he deems fitting. Subsection B, the city manager, or in the absence of a city manager, the assistant city clerk shall call for a workshop to review the current year budget at least quarterly. This review shall be separate from the following year budget preparation activity.
So all we're doing is reviewing the budget.
That's correct.
Whether it's in the fifth month, or whenever it is. We're supposed to review it on a quarterly basis, but we haven't. I've been here 2 years, I haven't had not one. So what I'm saying, whether we're in the 6th month, if we're trying to get on track with our quarterly meetings, we're just doing a financial review of our budget, the current year budget. So if we have the numbers that was used to put the budget amendment together came from February of 2018, end of February. The only numbers we did not have was March. If we do a meeting, we can still use those February meetings because we're just doing a budget review of 2018, the current.
The code section that I read does not limit you on how many months you can review. It just simply says review the current year budget.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead and make your motion.
I would like to make a motion that we, one moment. I would like to make a motion that we do a financial review of our budget in a workshop in a special call meeting with public hearing for a budget amendment and the first reading of that budget amendment.
Second.
Any more discussion? It's March the 27th at 6 p.m. right here. No? Why? No, the 27th. Okay, March 27th at 6 p.m. Do I have a second from somebody? Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Mayor and council to establish a date in April for a town hall meeting. Well, guess what? I have picked a date. We're going to do a town hall meeting on Thursday, the 26th of April at 6 p.m. in the evening at the depot.
As I mentioned earlier, the zoning meetings for the rewrite, there's one that evening at 6:30.
Oh, good, okay. Well. Okay, let's look at Thursday, the 12th of April at 6 p.m. And I would need my city attorney here. Can you be here?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay with everybody on the council? All in favor of the 12th of April? Pass 6-0. Town hall meeting. Okay. Moving on. Mayor. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Ms. Pat, I would like for it to be noted in the minutes that I need to recuse myself based on, I made a donation to this committee.
And Mr. Mitchell, his reason for recusing himself is for religious beliefs. Mayor and council to approve or / disapprove the special hall beverage event application for the Hampton Day Family Reunion to be held 27 March 2018 at 16 Tom Eason Drive. Who's the family member here? Come on up, please. Please tell us what this is all about.
This is Hampton Day. This is our 4th year doing it. We did it 3 years at Nash Farms. It is just a community event that we just give away food. We have stuff for the kids, and it's everybody in the community just come out, cook, and just do your thing. We have fun. We have DJs. We also have licensed security. Like I said, the past 3 years, we haven't had any incident. Nothing happened. Everything been going well, but I didn't know that we can do it in Hampton until I asked Miss Ann and her mom. But we've been doing it at Nash Farm, so hopefully it'll be the first year and it'll turn out great.
Terry, did she fill out an event permit?
I did.
We do have a permit. It hadn't been signed off on, I don't think, from everybody, has it? I think we were waiting on because they were wanting alcohol at that location, correct?
And I had insurance, but on the insurance, they put the wrong address, so I got to take it back down to State Farm to get the right address. Because he put for the park instead of Tom Eason for my insurance.
where is 16 Tom Eason at exactly? I mean, is it that church there? Or?
This is Old City Shop property.
Oh, the old city shop, inside the fenced-in area.
Yeah, the grassy area.
That's the question. I think they're wanting to do it in the grassy area, and that ordinance hadn't passed yet. The first reading passed, correct? Just the first reading.
First reading passed, but
So it would be contingent on that second reading passing.
right. Miss City Attorney, I need some advice on this.
Just rattle off something?
To rattle off something, I mean, legally,
Right now, they could only have it inside. They couldn't have it, anywhere else because as Chief pointed out, that ordinance hadn't passed, it was just in the first reading. There are some other questions, I know after reviewing the application that, yes, no, I defer to you, absolutely.
I have a lot of problems with this event on that property. Right now, they're asking to have it May 27th, which is a Sunday, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that property is adjoining to the Methodist Church on Elm Street. I don't know their hours they're open that Sunday, but I do know they're probably going to have people there till 12:30, and depending if they have an evening service at 6, that's going to interfere with that. And to me, even if we're not breaking a state law because the alcohol's being given away and not sold, we need to offer our churches more more compassion for that than that.
And we
Another
are gonna go
thing-
talk to them, because we know the pastor and the whole church group, so we will be talking to them. We won't actually get started until like 1. We just need to get out there at 8 to start cooking, and we told our guests to come at 1. So it really won't be disturbing the church.
And my problem's not with your event as much as our event form is. It's horrible, but that area is not set up to me to be rented out for an event. If it's a city event we're having, we have more control over that. There's no buffer between the homes, and I do know previous events, cars and stuff drift onto property I believe is AT&T. And if you go back there, you know, I was back there this morning looking at it again. I think before the city, I'm not against the city renting that out at some time, but I believe we have to have proper buffers between the homes if we decide to. There's nothing in the event form that there needs to be a restroom there or porta potties for the 300 people coming. And there's just a simple box that someone checks and says, I understand I'm responsible for cleanup, but we don't take any money to ensure that happens. So there's nothing to say. Our city guys aren't going to be out there on Tuesday having to clean up trash and put it away. We just don't have proper protection for us. Also, I'm thinking it's a community day and accidents happen, but 2 kids out there at a picnic throwing a ball and it goes through the resident's house. Who falls? Does that fall on you, or could that come on us, the insurance? To me, there's just a lot of questions that we need a stronger event form before we approve something such as this.
So that's why we have insurance, right, to cover that. And with the cleanup, we do clean up. I looked into getting a dumpster. So we will have dumpster and we will do our own cleanup. So the city won't have to do anything.
The other thing I had is, like I said, it hasn't really been surveyed for rental. And like I'm looking today, and I've done events there, I've parked people there for the Yellow Pollen last year. There's not a whole lot of parking spaces. So I'm curious where everyone's gonna park, because if we take all of Main Street's parking, it's gonna hurt Terramie and our other restaurant that's open on Sundays. We don't have a lot of parking for that, and I just think we need to survey it. Something needs to be done so we just know how many people we can park in town.
With the parking, they won't be parking in town. They will be parking at the vacant lot at, what is it? What is the address? Yeah, we got permission from the owners. to park there. We will have people parking them, and also, my mom, my whole family live on Elm Street, so we have parking. So they won't be parking on Main Street, and won't be parking on the street, period. It'll be designated parking that they'll park at.
I got I guess, a legal question, and until we pass the ordinance on second reading, it still says it has to be inside the fenced-in area. Is that correct?
That's correct, and your special event permit currently, your special event permit ordinance currently does not speak to BYOBs. And so it sounds like from the list of things pointed out by Councilmember Bodie, it could be where you approve with conditions, submit a parking plan, you require the insurance, which it sounds like they have, but for them to submit it, maybe a deposit for cleanup, I'm just throwing out some ideas based on what I heard, require maybe permission, something from the church, which they have noted that they will be going to talk to. But as it stands now, you're right, Mayor, the inside portion of that facility is the only place, and there's no regulation on the BYOB. Currently, no ordinance speaks to that. The revised one does, but it's just a first reading.
I guess I'm gonna ask a legal question out of you. If second reading passes, can we make a notation that she's here tonight, and then if it come back before the council next month?
So
Because
you're saying
she has to have we have to have this 90 days. She's approached the council. What I'm saying legally, if tell her to come back next council meeting and make that decision.
You can suspend that rule. Let me just look at your ordinance really quickly to make sure, but, I think
Well,
that's section 6.
you know what, don't, I'm just gonna cancel it. I'm gonna go back to Nash Farm. So this, we don't even have to worry about it. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to Nash Farm.
Well, it's not that we don't want to help. It's
No,
that
I understand.
We want to be legally right.
I know, I understand, but, yeah, it's just too much when I can just go pay for Nash Farms. Like,
If you don't mind, ma'am, I'm gonna answer the mayor's question, just so you can be aware that if you do choose to remain in the city and provide the community event, they're saying they wanna suspend the rules so you won't be, under the timelines if they approve it next month, once and if the ordinance that you heard earlier about having alcohol passes. So it actually, what he's suggesting is actually trying to help you.
that's fine. I don't have time to wait. I gotta get it on the road.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to just make a motion, and I'm sorry, just to disapprove this one, and we need to get it on our list to make a better event form. So I appreciate you bringing the event for Hampton, and like I said, it's more on our end that event form just doesn't cover the issues we need to make sure are covered before we rent a space out.
The permission, like the attorneys asked for, the people you talked at the church, get them to sign off on it, and get the insurance date corrected, the address. See, all those things have to be in place, so we have to, make sure the insurance is right, get the permission from the owners of the property and the church. Whoever gave you a yes, we need some in writing, and it's not trying to stop you, we have to protect the city also.
I understand.
Okay.
Do I have a second to Councilman Bodie's motion? Okay, all in favor of disapproving this? Dawn?
Dawn Greer, 20 McDonough Street. maybe I missed something, so I was hoping you could clear it. When did we approve renting out that space to private events? Did I miss? Is that the ordinance that we're talking about? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Actually, it was approved in ordinance number 435,
Yes, ma'am.
which is not tonight's, it's some previous ordinance.
Yes, ma'am.
That listed those 4 areas.
But that was for the consumption of alcohol, not the city renting it out?
That was to allow alcohol to right.
But that's what I'm asking, when did we authorize that public city-owned property to be rented out for private events? That's what I just didn't, if I missed that.
Go
I was
ahead, Ms. Bodie.
curious.
They added the inside gates last year
Not
on
for
the-
alcohol consumption, for non-city events to be held on city, everything that I've seen there's been city-sponsored, I guess is what I'm going with. Did I miss one? Because I know I missed a couple of meetings. I'm just trying to figure out when that was approved, that the city, you're renting it out like the depot is what I'm understanding?
Are you talking about the jazz festival thing?
No, no, I'm talking about the proposed, family reunion. How did it get approved to be held on city property?
It did.
Not the alcohol permit, the actual event.
I'll ask my city attorney to
That's
explain.
what I'm just curious.
I think I understand your question is,
because
when did the council decide that they are going to
Yes,
rent
ma'am,
out their
because we rent out
property
the
to
depot,
private
yes, ma'am, because we rent out the depot, and we've been doing that for years, but I've never seen that be rented out to a private party before. It's always been city-sponsored events.
This is the first time it's been approached to be
So,
rented
but,
out.
so we don't have a fee structure, we don't have anything.
That's why we're gonna try to get the,
Yeah, I
the
understand,
permit.
I guess that's where
up to
I'm going
speed.
with that, because we don't have a maximum occupancy rate for safety for fire marshal. We don't have, anything where we can assure that parking or no parking zones will be monitored effectively, because you really, I mean, you can kind of say that people won't park there, but if you go down James Street on any city event, you can kind of see that even with the parking signs, the no parking signs that are put there, sometimes they're not always effective. And I'll just a general reminder for that area, that directly borders residential areas. And insurance, to me, would be irrelevant to just being good community members and remembering the neighbors in the area. That's all I had to say. Nothing against anybody in particular. I just think there's some things that really do need to be
Thank you,
firmed
ma'am.
out on that. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion disapproved by Stephanie Bowden, Councilman Bodie, a second by Mr. Turner. All in favor of disapproving? Pass 4-0, disapprove. Mayor and council to approve/disapprove the special alcoholic beverage event application for the Henry County Humane Society to hold its second annual Bark and Brew to be held on Cherry Street, October the 6th, 2018. Is the lady here? No, come on.
My name is Stephanie Fenton. I live at 518 East Mays Road, Stockbridge, Georgia. Henry County resident for 39 years. Here is a representative of the Henry County Humane Society, and we are approaching the council to get approval for our second annual Barks and Brew Charity Dog Walk. Anybody go last year? Yeah. Oh, okay, thank you. I made up a Q&A statement here, and I'm hoping it's going to answer all the questions that you might have. If it doesn't, we'll just go ahead and take the questions afterwards. The first one is, who is holding the event? Henry County Humane Society. What is the date, time, and location of the event? October the 6th, 2018, from 11 to 7, and that includes our setup and takedown. The actual event is going to be from 2 to 6. Also, it will take place on James Street, on Cherry Street, possibly with the use of James Street, and we'll deal with the alcohol part in a minute. We're going to use we're going to have food, and the restaurants that we intend to use are Tierra Mia and or Rutabagas. We want to keep it with businesses that are within the city limits. There will be alcohol. We've made the application. Beer will be provided by the Jailhouse Brewery. Will there be music? Yes, we're going to have a country rock band, but we have not yet selected that band. Stage for announcements and music. We're currently waiting for the city of Hampton to give us a price on using their stage and staff for setup and takedown. We're hoping that we can come to an agreement on a price for a rental. If not, we're going to have to look elsewhere if we can't afford it. Parking vehicles will be parking directly across from Cherry Street down in the field. I think we used that area last year for vendors, but it did not work out very well, and we think we'd rather put the cars down there this time. As far as restrooms are concerned, porta potties are going to be provided by the Humane Society. I think we used King Can last year. Security, we are going to hire 2 City of Hampton police officers. We will pay for the City of Hampton police officers. We did that last year. Signage, the Humane Society will provide a banner advertising the event and signage indicating where alcohol is and is not permitted. We also did that last year. The route of the dog walk, it's a 1 mile, and I have a map of the dog walk on the back of your little packet here. Last year, the city loaned, as far as the garbage is concerned, and that is an issue, last year the city loaned the Humane Society their trash cans, and the Humane Society hauled it off. This year, we are going to request a loan of the cans and possibly have the city remove the trash, if not give us a price on what it will cost, because last year, you know, our volunteers were hauling the trash away in the backs of their pickup trucks. Notification of residents on Cherry Street. Henry County Humane Society will provide written notification of the event prior to October the 6th and again on the day of the event. We did this as well last year. This is the Humane Society's only fundraiser this year. It's very successful last year thanks to the help of the City of Hampton and our sponsors. We are a 501c3 nonprofit and support the abandoned and neglected animals of our county with the profits from this dog walk. Your approval not only helps the animals, but also promotes the businesses and the unique features of your city. We request your approval. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes,
During
please.
the dog walk, who walks behind the dog with the pooper scoopers?
We provide volunteers that do that.
Okay, thank you.
We leave no refuse.
Go ahead.
Of any kind. Yes, you have a question.
I actually helped you all a little bit last year with
Yes,
that.
you did.
And so they actually came to me and handed me a bunch of little baggies, and every walker was handed one, and then they walked behind to check. But y'all, you got to come see this because people dress like their dogs. It is the funniest thing ever.
I think it's a great event, and a lot of people who had never been to Hampton came to Hampton for the dog walk last year and went away saying, what a cool little town Hampton is. And I think that that promotes your business. So,
Councilman
good for
Bodie,
us,
was that
good
a
for you.
motion you put forward to? Would you restate that? Yes, I do.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the special alcohol beverage event application for Henry County Humane Society to hold its second annual Barks and Brews to be held on Cherry Street, October 6th.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Last year when they did this, I think I asked the same question, and I don't know how it come out. It says that the alcohol will be provided by one establishment.
That's correct.
Is there any possibility, or does she even want to do it, that Tia Meir could also provide alcohol beverages at this event? Because she backs up to that street.
we have a representative of Tia Meir right here. Answer that question. Right. Right. Do we need to add her, to the alcohol application and get her
Yes.
license?
And the license also says beer. You'll have to put beer and liquor, I would assume.
Would we add that to like beer, wine, and liquor?
Yes, you would need to add both of them to the application. And Mayor, I was just going to add, because again, just to remain consistent with the last applicant, the Cherry Street location currently reads only
those portions specified in the special event registration approval. That's what we're limited to. And so we just would need to identify what that area is, along with the other concerns. I think one of the citizens, sorry, ma'am, I don't remember your name. I believe she indicated that, the rental of city-owned property, to private or nonprofit individuals was her concern, and just talking with the chief here quietly, I think this application and the city's desire to rent out its property is, I guess the city decision is kind of a policy decision. I don't believe there's any ordinance or resolution that you'll find that says we have now decided to rent out our property to private individuals.
That is correct, and I would just probably look for a private stage, so Patrick Reynolds or somebody like that. The trash cans, it's the council's choice on that one, but, for.
I think, Councilmember Bodie brought up about, what you would do about trash, and maybe that deposit, will cover that, just if we need to do the cleanup as.
City manager, you're looking at me.
The staff spoke about this numerous times. We've talked about adding a fee, getting with John Spraggs, our public work, and deciding on a fair fee for the city workers' times and what it would cost them in trash per can, and each time it's dumped, and the setup time for but that would be at the council's wishes. If y'all would like me to pursue that, we could add that to our special events permit, and
I would like to see that, you add that.
we'll be
Look at
doing
it,
some work on the
research,
special event
research,
permit,
and
obviously,
get
so
back
we'll,
with us.
okay.
Mr. Turner has a question.
The young lady here before is talking about trash. Would they have opportunity to get the same service if they did that, pay the city to pick up?
Yes, sir. If we could get the council to approve a fee schedule for trash and stage and any rental of any city equipment, that would be available to anybody. Yes, sir.
I think last year we borrowed the stage from the city of Locust Grove. But then we had to rely on our volunteers.
Maybe between now and October, we'll have this resolved.
Okay, so the approval is just going to be on the event can occur, and the details as far as rental will be addressed later. Is that correct? Okay.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
And yes.
All opposed? You voted yes. Okay, pass 5-0. Mayor and council to appoint a member of the council to the Hampton Downtown Development Authority as a council liaison. Henry has been representing us and doing a great job. And Mr. Mitchell, you're glad you joined us back here, sir. And Mr. Turner, go ahead.
I would like to make a motion that we appoint Ann to the Downtown Development Authority. Both.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 5-0. No. Yeah, you abstain. Okay, 5-0. Welcome to the DDA. Main Street Economic Development Director Denise McKay to present the 2018 Economic Development Strategy Plan that was developed from the planning session held January 13th, 2018, and the mayor and council to approve or disapprove the plan. All yours.
Back in January, we had a joint retreat with the elected officials, the Downtown Development Authority Board and the Main Street Advisory Board. And the purpose of this retreat was to come out with a vision, a comprehensive, a unified vision for the city with everybody working together on one plan. And once the vision was defined, we wanted to take and work on a work plan so that everybody knew who was going to be responsible for what. We kind of laid timeline out for the time period we anticipated to be done and what we would do going forward with this. But we wanted everybody, all groups, with one vision and to know how this was going to come about. And as a result of that, I have given you a copy of the work plan that came from the retreat that we held that day. And it was hosted from Georgia Downtowns. Any questions on the plan?
Need a motion to approve or disapprove?
I make a motion that we approve the Main Street Economic Development Strategy Plan developed on January the 13th, 2018.
I second.
Any more discussion?
I've got one.
Go ahead, Henry.
I don't know how it came out, but there is something in the plan that states that they would be a moratorium. If that didn't pass, I don't know if it did or didn't, but if it didn't, then would that need to be out of the plan, or would it still need to stay?
We'll just adjust the plan. We presented it, it didn't pass, it's okay. I mean, because that was one of the items that was discussed that day, that, about the moratorium.
Any more questions? Miss Oliver, please go to the mic.
This plan, is this the one that we met at the depot in January?
Oh, we're still working on that one.
So that's not, this plan is not derived from the information that was gathered at that meeting at the depot, which
No,
was a zoning.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay, that's all, I was just confused.
Thank you, Miss Oliver.
Mr. Mayor.
All in,
Mr.
any
Mayor.
more questions? Go ahead, Henry.
Yeah, there's one other thing that's in there about the signage. There was supposed to be 2 locations.
I thought there was 3, isn't
Well,
there?
I did too, but it only shows 2 in here, and it don't show Oak Street in 1941. It only shows Woolsey and 20 and 3.
I thought we had agreed to 3, so I can go ahead and make that adjustment. That's not a problem. Where is that at, Henry? May I ask? Do you know? Or I can find it. We'll just make that recommendation that there was 3 areas for the signage. Gateway sign, I see it under goal priority 1, gateway signage, and add Oak Street. Okay.
Okay. Having a motion to approve. All in favor? Pass 6-0.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, that passed, but I'm sorry. I haven't been able to find the right time, but I'd like to ask the council if we could amend the agenda and vote on possibly refunding Miss Sandra's money from that accident with the door in the car.
I will seek my legal attorney and ask your advice.
What was interesting, Mayor, is that I didn't see a motion where you guys moved to approve the agenda items in the first place. And so, we can do, if you want to be official now, we can, and just move to amend the agenda. Move to temporarily suspend the rules to allow for the amendment of the agenda. That will be your first motion. Once that passes, then I think you need 5 to move to amend the agenda to add this item.
Okay, you want to state both motions?
That's fine. It's a motion to temporarily suspend the rules to allow for an amendment.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to temporarily suspend the rules to allow for an amendment.
Okay, now, do I have a second? Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Now state your other motion, please, ma'am.
I'd like to make
To amend the agenda.
A motion to amend the agenda to take a vote on reimbursing Miss Sandra Palisades for Terramia for the damage done to her car by the door.
Do I have a second? Any more discussion? Henry?
Yeah, we need to put the dollar figure in that motion probably.
Well, it's not the motion yet to refund, this is just the motion to add it.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Now, state your motion on the amount.
I'd like to make a motion that the city reimburse Miss Sandra Pelios the full cost of the repair of her car, not to exceed $1,800.
That was $1,800, I believe.
Ms. Pat, do you have that file with you?
So if we don't know the numbers, maybe, the motion can be, if that's what you're seeking to do, to approve did you get more than one estimate or only one? But you only got one, you didn't get multiple estimates for multiple people. So maybe make a motion to refund her the amount on the estimate provided to the city clerk and city manager. Yeah, not to exceed, I would say not to exceed a certain amount. Have you gotten a second on it? No, you can fix it.
I'd like to make a motion that we reimburse Miss Sandra Pelios of Terramia the damage done to her car based on the receipt that was already filed with the city clerk last year. Not to exceed $1,900.
Okay. Any discussion?
I have
Go
one.
ahead, my legal attorney.
Because I'm not familiar with your finance policies, I do, would like to say that we need to give authority for that money to be, depending on where it's coming from, right? If it's just coming out the general fund, then fine. If you're moving it from somewhere.
Probably come directly out of the general funds. Henry?
Did you have the car repaired? Okay, so, so you could get another estimate, or, I mean, just normally we do, I mean, most of the time insurance company will require you to have 2 estimates or whatever, just to make it, so it, you know what I'm saying, just to make it look better. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, no, I mean, I was just curious.
Okay, Ms. Tarpley?
My question is to Ms. Sandra. Did you try to put in a claim to your insurance? What was the make and model of the vehicle? 2009 Nissan. Do we have the measurements on what that dumpster, how large that dumpster and that door was? We should have it in previous records in regards to the drawing.
Yeah, we should have it somewhere. I'd probably have to get with John Spraggins, try to find it. It did go into that. That's the she was correct. That's the reason we put the post in the ground, to stop that from happening again, just from the wind blowing or the trash truck when he pulled up from the doors opening, so.
So I was looking at the picture that she provided. It was a parking space where we put the pole at. So.
If you'll come up to the mic, please.
Miss Sandra, bring the picture too. So is that not a parking spot right there where that hole is?
This is the first parking spot.
No, no, I'm looking at a parking spot. I see the blue marks going across where the dumpster was, right? Right, but the blue marks is in front of that. Next to it is a curb and a parking spot. That's the curbstone right there. That's the parking spot.
No, but this was not marked as a parking. The first parking space was this. The first parking space was here where this car is, and that's where my car was. So with that door was here, but it was going all the way.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. You're saying that the dumpster, when it swung open, it swung all the way over past one parking spot to the second one. Right, the gate door. Okay.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to pay up to 1,900, is that correct?
And the clerk.
All in favor, I have, go,
The estimate not to exceed.
not to exceed
One
1,900.
more comment. One more comment.
One more comment.
So, have we, okay, so we've had other incidents that we have denied. We haven't paid the claim on if the insurance company didn't pay it.
With regard to the dumpster, but it was different circumstance.
But regards to the dumpster.
Again, I have a motion and a second.
Maybe the other incident that you have with the dumpster was that when the truck, the the company that take out the trash hit the car of the truck of the jailhouse. But that was not the city's fault. I mean, that was not the city. It should have been the dumpster company because they the ones that hit the truck. But I mean, at this point, I really feel that the city should have pulled that pole since they put that door. You know, that's why I'm here because I think it's just right for y'all to pay me.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Again, I have a motion and a second. All in favor of paying up to the,
The repair company.
I'm so confused now. We got a motion and a second to approve up to a maximum of $1,900. Is that correct?
That's the motion and the second you have on the floor. However, it sounds like the city clerk has made a suggestion to amend that motion to include and that check made payable to the repair company on that estimate sheet.
Go ahead.
Yeah, who made the second? Will you withdraw it?
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay, will you withdraw your original motion?
I withdraw my original motion.
You can make a new one.
I'd like,
Lord help us. Hello. Y'all have spent more than $1,800 sitting here tonight. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why are we going to make the check payable to a repair shop? It's her car. She can decide if she wants it repaired or she don't want it repaired. She can drive around for the rest of her life with a dent in the side of it. That's nobody's business. She lost money on the value of that car. If she goes to sell that car, guess what? She loses value if that repair is not done. Why are y'all being so hard on this? The door swung open, it hit her car. We're not talking 18,000. We're talking 1,800. Y'all waste more than that in a week's time. A day's time I've seen in some meetings. Thank you.
I will seek out my city attorney opinion on this. Should we make it to the individual or to the company?
I am here for legal advice, sir, and that would not, that's a policy decision on behalf of the council.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Palmer?
My 2 cents is, she's not asking for rental, she just wants the repair. If her car if you're gonna make it out to the repair, it's gonna exceed possibly the amount of the estimate, because she's gonna have to have transportation. So, I mean, when you think about renting a vehicle for 2 to 3 days, I don't know how long it will take to repair a vehicle, but then if you're gonna limit it to the amount of money, that's not even gonna cover, and she has to be at work.
Any more comments? Call for a vote. Oh, Henry, go ahead. Call for a vote.
Okay, well, I got one thing. Are
Need
we,
a motion. Go ahead.
oh, did she not make the motion?
Go ahead and make a motion, Stephanie.
I'm going back to my original motion. She's driven around in this car for a year. It was our mistake, and she just got tied up in the time we were between managers. So I make a motion again that we pay Miss Sandra Palacios an amount up to $1,900 to fix her car. She just brings her receipt up here, and they write her a direct check to fix it.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? All opposed? It passed 6-0. Miss Oliver? Well, we're not adjourned. We got a lot more to go. No, I've got 2 or 3 more items.
You do? Okay, well, I want to make a statement before I get consumed with these unknown items that you're going to bring up. I'd like to ask that we get a police report at least quarterly of the type of crimes that we have within the past quarter, a time period. I think we used to do that, but recently, in the past few years, I have not seen that happen. And so I'm asking that you all consider bringing that back to council meetings, a police report of the type of crimes that we experience here in Hampton. And I ask that because I read somewhere, and as I get older, I don't remember things very well, but Hampton's safety rate has declined in Henry County, in terms of the county-wide. Hampton is the lowest safety rate. Yeah, it said it was 38.
I'll have to refer that question to my police chief.
Okay.
She's referring to a SafeWise, which is a private company that does, they get their data from different sources, and I don't know how, we don't know how liable they are or how, we turn our information in monthly to the FBI, like we're required. We report it properly. It's something that was put in the Henry Herald, but it is a private organization that come up with those numbers. I have no idea how they got those numbers. So, and it's a statewide, and in those, it was referring back to 2016 data, and we were 38th in the state. We have been on that same one up in the top 10, which sounds good, but again, I just caution you because we don't know where they're getting their stats from.
Okay.
And
thank you.
sometimes Hampton gets bunched in with Lovejoy and other areas, so I would just caution you on any of those. When they're good and when they're bad, I would caution you on how much faith you put in those stats.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, but still, I want you to consider having reports given on some basis, semi-annually or quarterly, to let the citizens know just what really is happening here in Hampton. The other thing I want to mention is some things has been said here tonight, and I agree, and that's about the racial divide in this city. However, it is not the fault of this council as it is now that there is a racial problem in this city. We're in the South, and racial divide and racial problems and issues are the fundamental foundation of our society. Now, it needs to change, absolutely. And I agree with the gentleman that made that statement that we need to stop this. This is the 21st century, and we're still acting like it's 1925. So yes, there needs to be a change. However, just by recognizing that it exists as if it had, that it exists now, as if it has not always existed, is a little unfair, I think, because we have a majority black council. But it wasn't considered that when we had a majority white council. So let's be fair about this. After all, you cannot legislate the hearts of men. And that's where racism begins. That's where it is. How people feel, how they think. And then it comes out in their behavior and their actions. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. Mayor and council discuss way to make the sewer debt visible for the citizens to see. Is that yours?
Mr. Mayor, we all know from campaigning and just even Ms. Oliver's comments early in the meeting asking, what is our sewer debt? I think it needs to be out there for citizens to be able to see all the time. My biggest idea is just that it's printed monthly on the utility bill. It goes to every home, and where it would say, and it doesn't necessarily, I know it's hard to get the balance every month, but maybe we update the balance quarterly. But example, it would say effective as of March 1st, our debt was $7.8 million, estimated payoff July 2028. And we update that quarterly, but that same sentence stay on there, say for 3 months, and then it changes. But that way citizens know every time they open that bill what that debt is. It's the same as my house payment. I know how much I owe every month. I don't have to come ask somebody. And if it's their debt, I feel it should be out there for them to see.
Pat, could we add that to the billing? Okay, let's make it happen then. Moving forward.
Yeah, I think we probably do need a motion because we're tasking the
Okay.
city clerk to do something. I know it was. I guess you're moving to provide quarterly updates to the sewer. On the billing, thank you, on the sewer debt.
But I'm not necessarily saying she has to, yeah, she update it quarterly, but I want it on there monthly, just so it says, yes. Or should it just go on there quarterly?
If you put it on there monthly, then it wouldn't be accurate, you see what I mean?
Okay, so, okay.
If she's only checking the debt monthly,
didn't go down each month when it really did.
So will
Until
that
the
go
end
out
of
in the April bill then, starting, do I need to send that to?
Stephanie, I'm sorry. It would be better for me to put down what the total is, and I can do it monthly, opposed to changing the payout date, because that's a whole amortization notice, and I have to contact the bank each time we do that. And we do pay over and above our monthly bill to pay it down, so that's gonna be much more difficult to get than just how much we owe, and it just show that we're going down.
So I make a motion that the council approve the city clerk to add the sewer debt to our utility bills quarterly, monthly, starting next month.
Do I have a second?
I'll
second it, providing that we don't have to go to this vote again with the, each's opinion. If we can agree that everybody's all right with that, and we stick with that, then I'll second that motion.
Okay. Have a motion, any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Pat, make sure that happens on the April billing. Mayor and council to discuss adding to the agenda a positive happening in our community by each member up here. This was also by Miss Bodie.
Okay. Mr. Turner, you're going to have something nice to say. Just wait. Okay, so this has been on my mind a while, and I went to class in Athens a few weeks ago, and different councils, and I know our Henry County Board of Education does it, the last thing they do before they go to executive session or leave the citizens is they say something positive they've seen in the community. It could be something with a citizen, a volunteer, or an employee. And I would like to see us end that way. And not only the citizens need to see what all we're involved in and know about, and they need to know that we recognize things. And there's things we know and are involved with that they don't know about. And if you don't have one, I have yours. But I'll give you an example. I was at school when I was in Athens, and I'm in the elevator with a man, and he's from Locust Grove. And he was the new councilman. And he told me how thankful he was for the help Chief Austin offered Locust Grove after the shooting of Officer Maddox. And it didn't hit, we know how awesome Chief Austin is. We have the best, and we know it. But for me to hear it in Athens, but also it was the fact that Chief Austin is known and respected enough to come take care of the streets of Locust Grove when they had their greatest need. They could have asked anybody, and they chose him and let him and trusted him. And that's big for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, I have something, and he's not in here right now. But oh yeah, there he is. He's sitting here. He come to me and bragged on our city downtown, how good looking it was looking. We hired somebody to take care of the downtown area. The bushes are all squared up. There's no weeds in the beds that I haven't heard from him lately. But I'm sure if there is, and I know his first name is Doug and his last name is Pat. Denise, you'd had it. Yeah. But he does an awesome job for the downtown. He's out here. He actually, over there by the police department the other day, was cutting that big lot between y'all and the White House with a push mower. Not a ride mower, a push mower. So to me, he's an outstanding employee to the city and our downtown area. And I hope he keeps it up. And thank you, Larry. Bill?
First time in my life I've ever come to the podium 3 times one night. Okay. The positive thing, you're gonna have a pollen festival this weekend. Okay, it's what, from 10 to 5, I think it is. Tree board will be there. We got free trees. We'll have live oaks and dogwoods. I think another positive thing was last month's agenda when the motion was withdrawn to allow the public to speak during the meeting. Yeah, I think everybody had fun tonight. Okay, really. So that's it. And the last positive thing is, I think it's the first night I ever got to speak more words than my wife. Okay.
Thank you, Bill. Ann?
So, my positive feedback would be watching our staff at work here in City Hall. With the new council coming on board, I believe they have been overworked, triple time. Miss Pat has answered the call for everything that has been asked of her regarding getting them up to speed, and we appreciate that. I watched our economic development person today. Wasn't her responsibility, but we had a group of guys come in for lottery permits. They wanted to go out and canvass our community, and they were going to have a meeting, and they wanted to know could they get the information early because the person was out